Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how we do it around here. We take one really fascinating topic, we pull in an expert, and we deep dive into it.
And today's topic, well, you could say it's a pretty big one.
We are talking about God's grace and mercy.
Two concepts that have been pondered, debated, and, well, let's be honest, sometimes even misunderstood throughout history.
Yeah, we're going to try to unpack some of that. For this deep dive, we're drawing inspiration from a really insightful piece titled The Beauty of God's Grace and Mercy. It really lays out some profound perspectives.
I mean, grace and mercy, they're not just theological terms, right?
Right. They're forces that can have a very real impact on our lives, and that's what we're going to explore.
Absolutely. So where do we even begin with something as vast as grace and mercy?
Well, I think a good starting point is always with definitions. What do we actually mean when we talk about grace and mercy?
I think that's wise, because those words can mean different things to different people.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty of God's grace and mercy actually offers some really clear definitions. It defines grace as God's unmerited favor.
Unmerited favor, meaning?
It's the love and kindness that God gives us freely, even though, well, let's face it, we don't always deserve it.
We're not perfect, are we?
Definitely not. And then mercy, it's about being spared from judgment and punishment, even when maybe we have messed up.
It's that feeling of relief, isn't it, when you realize that the consequences you feared, well, they don't have to be your reality.
Yeah. And the source really highlights that grace and mercy are not about earning God's love. It's about receiving it as a gift.
And that right there, that's a powerful message, especially in a world where we're often told that our worth is based on what we achieve.
It is. It really challenges that whole idea of having to earn everything. The source actually points to a really key verse in the Bible, Ephesians 2:8 to 9.
Ephesians 2:8 to 9, a classic. It says, "For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast."
And that really sums it up, doesn't it?
It really does. We're saved by grace, not because of anything we've done, but because of God's incredible love for us. It's a gift. And what's so powerful about a gift?
Well, it's freely given. There's no need to earn it or pay it back.
Exactly. And that's what makes grace so transformative. It frees us from that burden of trying to earn God's love. We can just rest in the knowledge that we are already loved unconditionally.
Yeah, it kind of takes the pressure off, doesn't it? To know that our worth isn't dependent on our achievements or how well we're doing.
Absolutely. And when we truly grasp that, it can change everything. It can change how we see ourselves, how we see God, and how we relate to others.
So how about you? When you think about grace, what really stands out to you? What resonates most?
You know, for me, it's the radical nature of it. It's this completely undeserved love that has the power to completely transform our lives.
I think that's what's so beautiful about grace. It's not about what we've earned, but about what we've been given. And the source makes a really interesting point about this. It says that grace, it's not just a passive thing.
Meaning?
It's not just something we receive and then that's it.
Oh, I see. It's not a one and done kind of deal.
Right. The source suggests that experiencing God's grace, it should inspire us to live differently.
To extend that same grace to others.
Exactly. So it's not just about what we receive from God, it's also about how we treat others.
It's about reflecting God's love in our actions, in our words, in our interactions with the people around us.
And it's not always easy, is it?
No, it's definitely not always easy, but it's so important.
It is. And the beauty of God's grace and mercy talks about this in a really practical way. It emphasizes that putting grace and mercy into practice, it can start with small things, simple acts of kindness.
Being understanding when someone makes a mistake. Choosing to forgive, even when it's hard.
Yeah, all those things can make a huge difference. Because when we show grace and mercy to others, we're sharing that gift that we've received.
We're letting a little bit of that divine love shine through us. And you know what? That can have a ripple effect.
I think so too. Because kindness can be contagious.
It can. And so can forgiveness.
Yeah.
And compassion.
So as we start to wrap up our deep dive today, we want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Always love a good thought to ponder.
How can we, each of us, more consciously embrace the concepts of grace and mercy in our lives?
And not just embrace them, but how can we actually live them out? In our families, in our workplaces, in our communities.
Yeah. How can we let those principles of grace and mercy shape our interactions with the world around us? It's something for all of us to ponder.
And to put into practice.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And until next time, may God's grace and mercy be with you all.
And also with you.